All right, welcome to Triple Break, a podcast on Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia JP version. It has been a while since our last episode because of various scheduling difficulties. But for this episode, we are going to talk about the Trey Chaos fight, which is a 9.6 million total HP fight on 75 turn limit, according to Safina. But before we actually get started, we have a guest here today in place of Skoy. So we have Cash. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Kesh. Let's see. Been JP player for a good bit. Uh, Paladin Cecil fanboy, and also equally a fanboy for Kefka.
Okay. So Skoy is unfortunately out on the movie night tonight. So yeah, let's get started with Trey. Anyways, well, not Trey, but Trey Chaos fight. We'll talk about Trey another time. But for the Trey Chaos fight, we have this thing. This is the Evil Gaze. It's a Gillicat reskin. Unfortunately, right now, Rem from Dissidia DB is actually quite busy, so I don't think it's updated right now. So I'm just going to do a basic rundown of what the boss is able to do, and then we'll get started with discussions. So basically, they absorb fire and wind elements, and they are resistant to attack, defense, down debuffs, and poison and stab. They have a basic moveset which consists of a single target brave attack with a low action delay, or if you're from Geo, it translates to high turn rate. It has another single target brave attack which delays 2 turns. It has a single target magic brave plus HP attack, a single target physical HP attack which is used at high braves, and it has a magic AoE brave attack which actually cleanses the party of generic debuffs and it gives the party a battery. Well, it doesn't look too bad on its own like this, but the gimmick is that this thing has 2 modes. It has attack mode, which it glows red, which gives them increased speed and attack, and then the kicker is everything from this point will break you, even if you dodge it. And yes, even AoE breaks you, which is really bad. And then after some while in red mode, it goes into a yellow mode, which normalizes its speed and attack stat and reduces its defense stat. But it also reduces action delay, which means all of their attack becomes faster, just in a slightly different way. Both of them are equally lethal and can basically kill you if you're not careful. I mean, even if you're careful, it still kills you. So that's part of where I think the difficulty comes from. It's high speed plus guaranteed breaks, and then it also has a very tight turn count, which is a 9.6 million HP in 75 turns, which requires a 128k HP damage per turn on the double boss. So yeah, especially deadly once it's glowing red and targets AoE all, because it's gonna break you regardless of what, and then it's gonna just HP you the next turn, and then you just die. So with that out of the way, let's get started with the discussion. So how do you guys think about this fight?
I think the fight it's pretty bad in like from two aspects. First of all, the boss mechanism is definitely crazy, like the guaranteed break, and also so I'm just quoting this from a JP YouTuber. So at first it's in this red aura mode for 3 turns, and then it goes to the yellow mode for 2 turns, and then it goes normal for another 2 turns, and then this is a loop. And in the red mode, it's just going to break you, or either HP attack you or break you. And in the yellow mode, it has it's like super low turn action delay. So it's very likely to just brave attack you and then HP attack you the next turn. And then I think towards the end of the normal mode, it would use an AoE attack. And I think in the later half of the fight, when their HP is below a certain threshold, they'll just AoE break you. which could be pretty lethal. And because they clear their non-frame debuff when they're doing the all attack, you can HP silence them to avoid that. So even if this is the mechanism is pretty bullshit, there are ways for you to counter it. Because we have characters like Golov who can dodge and counter. Well, he'll still get broken when he dodges, but he'll be able to counter. And I think apart from a Brave plus HP attack the enemy does, everything else is like the all attack is also magic attack, but everything else is like physical attack. So he could actually handle the fight pretty well. And also there is Ash, who has a party AoE dodge, where you could try to use, like, say, Palrum for HP damage reduction. But however, the thing is, like, these characters with the gimmick to handle the fights, none of them is really like a big number, crazy attacker. So if you're trying to play safe to like not die, you are very likely to suffer from the lack of damage because the fight has a very tight 75 turns. And it's kind of funny because a lot of people get a clear on this fight with a max score 99999, but just not meeting the turn, like miss the turn by 10 or 20 turns. So I think the fight is pretty bad because of what the enemy can do, and also just because of the super tight turn count.
This is definitely probably one of my most hated fights of the Chaos era. And it's
Even
funny
surpassing
because
Deus Chaos?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Deuce Chaos, I had Ace and Deuce.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I had, my own advantage there. But, and even though Alexander Chaos, for instance, it was a challenge and you needed to work in certain ways to get through it, I thought it was generally kind of still mostly fair, but a bit of a fun fight. This fight, I did not find fun. I thought it was a bit, and I think a lot of people can echo this, is that it was just incredibly restrictive, and even using characters that theoretically should be perfect or really good for this kind of fight, it's still a bit of a unreasonable struggle.
The main thing I had with this fight, like even before going into like the later half of the fight, is like I would have a turn order set up, and then they would just break me, and then I don't get a turn, and then they just kill me. It's like really ridiculous in that regard. Like there is no way without an actual like extended provoke plus evasion, or just like having Galoof to dodge, or like maybe last stand to actually like survive that. If you're not lucky enough. Like one way, like even when you are using say RCL for the HP silence, like it can like just outrun it. Like you can just like use his high turn rate skill to break you, and then get another turn, and then just stall out that HP silence, and then you just die.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like this is a fight where you're going to use like Kefka either, who also can apply HP silence, because they pretty much resist a good chunk of his kit.
They resist the attack and defense down debuff, but they are still vulnerable to speed downs. But the thing is, like, they can clear their generic debuffs, so...
Yeah.
I think my main issue with this fight is just like the turn count. I understand the fact that like this is Trey event and Trey has this crazy out of turn damage thing, and also we have Charlotta as a synergy character who has this crazy HP damage up thing, but it still feels like unfair that they are just making the requirements around the characters. It actually just reminds me of Barret Chaos back then. Like, it's okay, you can clear the fight, you can even meet turn, but you can't meet score because Tifa is synergy and she does chase, and chase boosts score, so they just set a like really high score bar there. Yeah, I just really dislike it when they do this kind of thing.
Yeah, funnily, my first clear of this chaos was with one party member surviving. I decided to take a small page out of I think it was Infighter's video. I decided to do Cater and Trey, though I made my third Arciela, and it just went out of control very toward that last bit, and I was able to win by the skin of my teeth because Cater just kept dodging, and I was able to kind of just whittle them slowly away.
Alright, so on that note, I have the next slide going on, which is some of the recommended utilities to bring for this fight. So, of course, you want really high damage. Yeah, not a lot of characters can actually do 128k damage per turn on double boss. So you want as much damage as possible. And then the other way to actually deal with all the hectic thing that's going on later towards the fight is to have an HP silence. So if you HP silence them at the right time, so for when they are queuing up their single target Brave plus HP attack, you can actually lock them down and they just won't have a turn. And if you do that when they are yellow, it basically is a free ticket for a lot of damage because when they're yellow, they have a reduced defense. And of course, speed downs, stuns, and delays also help a lot because Kistis is synergy. So speed downs, and they kind of works because they can't kill you if they don't have a turn, right? So, and another honorable mention is, I think it goes above honorable mention. It's more like a very good mention. Well, how do you even say that? But anyways, a very good character for this is actually Eldnarch or Eyepatch, because his terror is actually able to stop the enemies from acting, and his free turns come in very handy to meet the damage requirement here.
Yeah, I think you meant he's the MVP of this fight.
Basically, my second clear on my second account, I used Ramza or Ciela, and then I used Leo, and then I swapped Leo out for Eldnarch Friend. And basically, by having the Eldnarch Friend do 17 turns as a friend unit, and most of them are 3 turns, I was able to get past with the skin of my hair and be able to clear the chaos without actually investing in further ingots. Though that took me 2 solid hours worth of resets.
Yeah, so I was trying to use Dark Knight Cecil here to get a complete. So my initial clear is with him and Galov and Kais, got 99999 score, but missed by 10 turns. And I just tried using Ramza because he has free turn, or try using a friend Charlotta, but just couldn't meet the turn. And then I used a friend Eyepatch and just miraculously made turn. And actually, when that friend Eyepatch left the battlefield, he had 0 skills left.
Yeah, that was kind of similar for, I was content with pretty much a clear on this one just because I wasn't having a good time with it. But, hearing what other people were doing, I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead. I'll try out Eldnarch. And I was definitely astounded when he left the battlefield nearly at 0-0 skills and almost all their health was gone. So he is kind of the, I don't want to say the dark horse for the fight, but he's basically just a great MVP.
Though, it's already past the point if you haven't pulled him, so you're basically using him as a friend unit, which is good. That I think I have seen a lot more Eldnarch friends popping up because of this.
I'm wondering if he would have the same amount of I think regardless he's going to be a very powerful friend unit, but looking at this chaos where the enemies are really fast versus possibly a slower chaos, it'll be interesting to see,
Yeah.
friend unit wise, if he's as used.
So maybe like if there's a triple boss fight, I wonder how would he be as a friend because like he gets even more free turns from Ward.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I know. Like, I think back then Safina did a video with a Rem against like 3 enemies. I forgot how many turns she had out of her, but it's just crazy. And I think for characters like him and like Rem, if you want to use them as a friend unit, you would actually prefer the enemies to move fast.
Yep.
So sometimes it's ideal to like not break the enemy to push their turns
Yeah.
back. Yeah. So there, even if they do make the fight sort of like brain dead, you still have to use your brain to plan to make like the most out of the friend unit.
So let's talk about some other notable characters. Of course, we already mentioned Narsh and Trey, Custis, Charlotta are all very good because they are synergy stats and whatnot. Another MVP is definitely Arciela because the HP silence is able to mitigate a lot of the hectic nature of the fight, even though they can outrun her if you're not careful about when you're using them.
I think
And
for HP silence, do they have like an HP threshold? Because I've had multiple runs, and sometimes they just like skip the Brave Plus HP attack and goes straight into the AOE. So I wonder if you need to reduce their HP to a certain threshold for it to.
I'm actually not certain about that.
I'm not familiar myself either.
Yeah, it's already sanity draining enough to actually go through the fight. I wouldn't actually want to like chart how your AI behavior actually works. And starting from that, and after that, we also see a lot of uses of course, Ramza, Atmel, Afano, and Sans. They are all very good buffers.
Well, and additionally, Alphino having, if I remember correctly, his poison is on his self
Yep,
buff,
yep.
which is a nice little way of getting around the fact that they can't be poisoned or sapped.
Just the thing is, they do so much damage on their brave attacks, and of course they break you, so they get even more brave from the break bonus. So I haven't actually met a situation where Alpha Note's poison actually prevented me from taking a lethal HP damage. Though
That's
I think it depends. Like if you have other characters who can do sort of like attack down, it could help.
but they
I
are
have
resistant to attack downs.
my Ashiala has a Virus Sphere, which is like
Oh right, the
a very
poison.
low poison. And like when I'm running her with Ramza and I forgot who else, but the poison actually definitely like saved me once. I forgot in what run, but yeah, probably with Edge and Ramza, where Edge has like an attack down on his taunt, and then Ramza has a attack down on triple break. So yeah.
Okay. Of course, if you can actually, uh, if you want to actually dodge reliably, Prompto, Edge, and Galuf are be able to fit the bill. Prompto, especially like he has the 3-turn provoke, or is it 2-turn? 3-turn, I think. Yeah, he has the 3-turn provoke on his skill 1, so he can actually manage the AoE all break and then just like dodge the next HP attack. Same thing with Edge with his EX buff, and Galuf with the dodge and counter because the single target, just pure HP attack, is physical, so he can dodge that no problem. And finally, like a lot of people probably have to use Kais just to meet that ridiculous damage requirement.
Also, I just have one thing to add for like the guaranteed break AoE attack. There is sort of a workaround that. I think for that attack, they first brave attack you, and then the guaranteed break happens. So in that case, if you have your members like say
Already broken.
ABC, yeah, like if A is already broken, or like say A has lower brave, has like 10 brave or something, and then their brave attack breaks A and pushes A back, and then their guaranteed break will break B and then just push B back behind A. But in this case, you will still have like 2 people who's going to act before the enemy. So yeah,
like that kind of turn order is kind of difficult to achieve because just how fast they are.
It's just like anti-battery. Like normally before an all attack, you want to battery your team up, but in this case, it's an interesting fight. Like sometimes you'd want to not to break them or not to have battery. Like especially if you have Ashiala, you have the HP silence. You sometimes would just want them to have a lot of brave, so they want to HP attack you and will be silenced instead of doing the brave attack and then just break you and push you back.
The thing with not actually pushing out attacks is that you are not going to be able to meet that damage requirement if you're not pushing out attacks constantly. Like when I tried using Cater, I got a clear with Cater. I got a complete with Cater actually. It's difficult to push out reliable damage on her counters because she will actually get broken before she can push out that counter.
Yeah.
So the counter damage is kind of like and also just any brave that you build up is just like lost if you get attacked. That which also makes meeting the turn requirement even more difficult.
Which that's a completely annoying mechanic is for consider like a unit like Trey is good for this chaos for many reasons because it's his chaos, but off of his skill 1, you might rely on that like, oh, a little extra battery will help, but once you hit red, with their red phase, nope, like
you just get broken.
Screw all that extra battery, screw everything that's coming at you. I've decided to even just say for this chaos, like I know I could probably, if I wait for an Eldritch friend, I can probably get myself like a Cecil Paladin complete on this chaos. But there's no way that like I think I could reasonably do it, because of the nature of like a lot of units that are partly what some units are good for is that they provide some brave in addition to what they're doing. That's thrown at the window here. Tight turn count if the units are not pushing out damage at a high enough rate, put them out and put them in the back alongside all the Island of Misfit units. So, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Rough
I think
times.
The interesting is that like this is Trey's chaos, but Trey doesn't really have the thing to like counter the mechanism of the enemy. Like back then during Emperor's chaos, because Emperor also has the trap thing, but in that chaos, the enemy like they take 1 turn to gain huge brave and then act again, and that's when like the Emperor's trap comes in and then reduces enemy brave, so he counters the chaos boss perfectly. But in this case, Trey doesn't really counter what the enemy is doing, and sometimes like his bombs setting off or his traps setting off not at the right time could actually like cause you some problem.
Yeah, you cannot actually reliably control when Trey's bombs go off. It's not like because they are not a debuff, they are just a turn counter. So, like for example, if they are glowing red and they target AoE with an insanely high brave, so theoretically, if you have Trey's guaranteed break EX debuff on them, and you have the skill 1 bombs queued up, you can just break them immediately after they break you, and then you're safe. But in practice, it's extremely difficult to actually pull that off because like the enemies are really fast. Trey's debuff is probably not gonna last long enough, and then because Trey himself isn't really that fast either, it's not likely that he will get his skill 1 trap on time before like the attack actually happens, or when he finishes skill 1, when like the enemies get their turn, his skill 1 trap has already ran out. So it's kind of a weird place. So I think like he's just there for the extra damage to win the fight.
Yeah. The MVP of the synergy of this fight is definitely Quistis, just because like the speed down, the delay, the battery is unfortunately not that important unless you can set it up properly. But just for like the speed down and delay, it's kind of a big utility at smoothing out this fight.
Yeah, so I did a round with Quistis and Ramza and Ashiala because all of them have speed down. And when you like stack them together, it's actually 110% speed down. Or because also I was using a Leviathan summon. And also Quistis has this action delay debuff on the enemy. Yeah. So albeit the enemies are like super fast, I actually got to getting a lot of turns before the enemy. So even though like Ramza has free turns, so that definitely helps. But like this team is not really like the super big DPS kind of team, but they still manage to do enough damage just because how they make the enemy so slow, so they can safely do damage without like losing the battery from the teammates. So I'd say Quistis is definitely like super good for this fight. And also, I think Charlotte, her friend, is also very helpful because basically she allows you to do like burst damage.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried this fight multiple times because I was like sort of stubborn at wanting to make certain characters work. And one of the strategies I used a lot is just to have Kais and have Charlotte and then just set up the chase and then just summon and then just burst, do a lot of damage. So she's also definitely helpful here.
I think another interesting, this is more of a brief commentary, but the summon you want to end up using for this fight, I think it's definitely. I did not have good success or good time when I was trying to use, Ifrit or Rama.
I mean, Ifrit is absorbed. They absorb fire. So
unless
you actually bring an enchanter with you, which is what I did for one try. I brought who was it? I actually brought Rydia friend, so I can use the Ifrit summon for more damage.
Oh, nice.
But that was a more friend strat that I used than something that I would reliably do.
Yeah, I think there are people who use Garnet so that they could use Pandemonium as the summon too. Mm-hmm. So for Kais to have like even more chase damage. The thing with Rydia is that the wave 1 enemy they actually
they resist
water.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's quite frustrating. I tried using Rydia and it's just if you can get through wave 1 successfully, then that's all good. But sometimes it's just very frustrating in wave 1.
It's a pain to, anytime a first wave is resistant to a damage type and you want to use that unit for your complete, it's really frustrating.
Yeah, I think it was, what was it? I think it was Vayne's last chapter. The second wave, they resist Thunder. And that was a time when Thunder characters are kind of a thing. And so that was...
Oh yeah, I think they actually like absorbs Thunder.
Oh. Yeah. I remember with Caius Chaos, I used Cecil. I wanted to get a complete with Paladin Cecil, but the first wave, I think, absorbed. And I did get that complete.
Cecil was doing 0 damage.
Oh no, I used a friend unit on first wave.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, that's a smart thing to do.
But, that's... one of those things of like, with this fight, I ended up using, I think that theoretically one of the good choices is between like Shiva or Leviathan.
Mm-hmm.
And I've ended up preferring Leviathan after my experience with it in Alexander. And I kind of like I don't know if there's a noticeable difference or there's anything important, but I feel like I prefer speed down to speed up.
The thing with the Shiva speed up is only active when your characters are below Eyebrave, whereas the Leviathan speed down is always active.
Yeah.
I actually used a Diablo summon with my complete with Ramza, Arciela, and Leo. The reason is that I swap out Leo with Eldnar's friend, So the idea is to have Eyebrave as high as possible. So when Elnarch gets his free turns, he gets the fast cast from Arciello. He gets the Brave Regent from Ramza, so he's able to do a lot more damage starting from his free turns. But still, it took me quite a while to get that clear down. I'm not gonna do it again for recording's sake.
I've been having that moment of like, oh, that run went well. I'm not going to try that again.
It's more like that run went well until like the last 3 turns, and then they somehow just like kills me, and I have to start the whole thing over again. That was not fun. I
And
have
it's gone.
recorded enough footage of my team getting wiped. Actually, I should probably learn how to just edit them together just for a reel.
Just do a supercut of like every time you wipe, and just put that online on like, here. You everyone always sees the clears and completes.
Yep.
Here are all the wipes.
Yeah. Sometimes like you cannot even help it. Like you thought you have a turn, but nope, if they break you, they get another turn in and they kill you. There's nothing you can do. It's not even an AoE break, it's just a single target break.
Enemies with break into kill are always mildly frustrating. Because it's nice because when it does encourage safer play, like Rosa and those beetles, don't get broken. If there's break into kill and it's guaranteed break, there's just no fun.
It's just like you lose. That's all. Thanks for playing.
It's like try again later.
So another thing I want to bring up is like the turn count again. So for context, the Alexander Ultimate Chaos, they have 8.2 million HP, and you have 90 turns to do it, and everyone has synergy stats. But here, you have 9.6 million HP total, and you only have 75 turns to do it. It really, it's not mechanically shutting down a lot of the characters, it's like numerically shutting down a lot of the characters. Like for example, if we take a look at the notable characters list, like everyone is released within the last month, basically, with the exception for Ranza and Edge and Galuf to some extent, because like they have like unique stuff. But everyone else are released within the past month or two. It's like such a high spike in the damage required. It kind of makes me wary of like the whole. Is this just a one-off thing, or are they gonna like keep the trend going and just move forward? And you have a lot of characters, and you just need to pull the new characters because like your old characters are not gonna have enough damage to clear the fight.
I'm feeling some trepidation going forward because I want to see what the next event is and what the turn count and turn requirement is for that. But I'm feeling some kind of way about wondering if we're heading back to a point when it felt like you needed to pull the current characters just to get it complete.
I think the characters starting from Jag and Ramza has all like been having like much higher damage per turn output compared with older characters. And a lot of the characters that felt pretty good when they were first released, for example, like Yuri, compared with current characters, their damage just becomes sort of like standard instead of outstanding. And also, starting from next month, we're going to have the last chapter for characters who have already had EX plus weapons. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I just feel like they are definitely like planning something.
I'm not exactly sure. Like, I'm not exactly on the boat that they will release a new tier of weapons, like starting next month. just because like I don't really have resources, so I like to like fool myself into thinking I'm not gonna do that. But the other reason is like EX weapons and EX Plus, they were both released on the anniversary. And then I think they really have a few months of like warning time before that. Well, at least like a month or two, because like they first said that EX will be receiving some sort of upgrades like within the coming months. So that was not a complete surprise, even though it sort
Yeah.
of is because of how it was implemented with the ingot shortage and whatnot. But that's another topic. So I'm not exactly on the boat that there'll be a new weapon anytime soon. I hope not, at least.
Oh, I also don't think like new weapons are coming, or at least not next month, since they didn't announce anything, and also they're still doing this ingot sale thing. So I think they would still want to make EX Plus weapons last a little bit longer, but it's probably gonna come like maybe in a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like I'm getting some sort of like a bit of conflicted message between like the Trey Chaos fight that just came out and the most recent like the third autumn campaign event banner, which was Beatrix, Yuri, and Edge. Like none of them actually have the damage requirement, the damage like output to actually be competitive in Trey's Chaos. So it's kind of it feels weird to see them have them return as a banner.
Yeah, it's kind of like what's you're only going to be pulling on these units if you actually want them. Like
They're not going to be
I
useful. They're not going to be too useful right now. It's past
no,
their environment. It's past their prime right now.
and we haven't heard any word yet for. I mean, we'll probably hear it with report, but we haven't heard any word yet about what's going to happen with FEOD. So
Do you
you reach
guys
a
think
point.
that is actually going to end soon, or new towers coming? What do you guys think?
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
So from what Cash is saying, is sounds like you are anticipating a completely new set of towers or something.
I'm more saying that I feel like unless there's any news there's about like either we're getting more in the current tower, it seems almost pointless to put up units like Beatrix, Yuri, and Edge because really right now that's where their place would be is for the most part you'll put those units into an FEOD and so you can free up some stronger units for like FEOD 14. But I feel like I given that the autumn campaign had the additional attachment of such a substantial amount of gems, I feel like it's like the ceremonious end of like, here's the end of this tower. But I have no idea what to expect.
Okay.
I feel it wouldn't even matter that much because the older characters are not holding up in current content. So even if we are having a new tower, I doubt like the early stages would be as easy quotation mark as easy as like the current far end of the dimension 1, 2, 4. So the characters we use there probably won't be able to be used for anything, even if there is a new tower.
Yeah, which kind of like bums me out a little on this subject because the way I pull for things is like I pull for characters and just have them as potential options to use when the next FQD comes because I can comfortably clear most stuff with my current roster without having to MLB extra stuff. So like, so if they actually go that route of just basically pumping the turn requirement and damage requirement up, it kind of just means like I kind of just like invested the gems for nothing, and I didn't even get to play them at their full potential because I hoarded ingots. Which kind of bums me out if I think about it that way.
See, that's why you just gotta play like I do. Pull on a whim's edge and MLB as things happen, and you'll always be disappointed.
I mean, I did have to pity Trey in the end, so that wasn't fun.
Yeah, I pitied Trey too. It was wait, no, I didn't. I pitied Rydia.
Okay. Well, I went 240 tokens for Radia.
Oh god.
That kind of also sucked, but at least I got the book out of her.
I pitted Kais and got like 4 Zeden EX, which I had already
Already had
MLB'd.
4. Anyways, are there anything else regarding Trey's Chaos that you guys want to touch upon?
I don't really have much else to say.
Yeah, me either. And right now, I don't know if this is like the new trend or this is just one fight for because of the character that's released that's super powerful. We definitely need more content to see where the game is going.
Next thing that's coming up is a raid that's coming at the end of the month. We currently do not know what banner is coming with that or what character is coming with that. We do know that it's going to be the last 2 free posts for the month with Autumn Campaign. And there are hints that point to possibly a character with a lot of free turns coming back with the X Plus. I will leave it at that, or else Rem's gonna get in trouble. Or I'm gonna get in trouble with Rem.
Just Fram comes back and comes Fram behind you with one of the Cerulean dagger.
Anyways, that's gonna be it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope to get the scheduling conflicts worked out and have more episodes coming with better regularity. Okay,